Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. This very distressing image comes from Health and Human Services. Yes, I want to share with you why I'm so upset about the government sticking its big fat nose into our medical choices. This is on Health and Human Services.gov, the agency that Bob Jr. is in charge of. And under the immunization tab, you'll see that there are these toolkits with messages and graphics to help spread awareness about catch-up immunizations. This is still on the website. I do not even like to look at images of people in these suffocation devices or getting these jabs in their arms. So I'm sorry to expose this to you, but it is the topic of my video. The video you're about to see is a top hit. I aired this several weeks ago, and the information is so important, especially for those of you that want to share information with people that still don't get it. So I aired this video previously. It was a live video, which is why I'm referring to reading some of your comments. But the information is so important that I wanted to make sure that we saw it again, or if you missed it the first time, please share this video, click through to the links at my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. And those are simple action steps that you can take to help others understand that the government cannot mandate medicine. Let's stop giving away our power and pretending that they can. Who put the government in charge of our healthcare? That is a sincere question that I have. So many people have been applauding the latest news that has come out of the CDC and the FDA and the Health and Human Services. And I'm going to be covering that for you in a very brief manner, because the bigger question is really not what the FDA, in my opinion, and the CDC and the HHS is saying about whether or not they're going to pull the cooties cocktails, whether or not they're going to recommend them for anybody under the age, 64 and under. I've covered that on this channel before as well. It's very strange to me that the government is recommending your healthcare. Why is that? I personally strive to stay healthy in a natural way. I like to eat healthy, wholesome foods, not because the government told me so, but because I am aware of how my body feels when I eat certain foods, and I have a choice as to whether or not I want to indulge or not. And I don't believe that it's the government's responsibility or duty or authority, whether legal or moral, to tell me what I can eat and can't eat. Am I in favor of getting the toxins out of the air? Yes. Out of the water? Yes. Out of the food supply? Well, in a word, yes. But am I in favor of the government regulating what it is that I can eat? That would be a big no. And if the government is going to start regulating what it is I can eat, why, on the other hand, are they pushing and promoting what it is we are supposed to do with our medical choices? That, for me, is the bottom line. Well, the spraying in the air is huge, and I've spoken about that many times. And I believe that there are some nefarious reasons for why that is happening. But in terms of the government's authority to inflict these medical requirements upon us, I'm just shaking my head. Why does the government, through the CDC, even recommend what jabs children are supposed to get? Why does that come from the government? You see, everybody's busy talking about the MAHA movement and Kennedy and standing up to big pharma and all of that. But you, my friends, have the power. You individually and personally have the power to stand up to big pharma. You can say no to those interventions. Why is it the government's responsibility? That, to me, is the most troubling aspect of these conversations. Now, speaking of conversations, I have a lovely friend and Healthy American and long time advocate in terms of keeping children healthy by keeping these products out of their body. And I think you know what I'm talking about. Her name is Laura Hayes. She has been on this channel before, and she has been a guest in our private webinar series. And Laura and I had a discussion over the weekend about all of the applause that the CDC and the FDA and Health and Human Services are getting because of their pronouncement that now healthy children and healthy adults, except if you're pregnant, should not be subjected to more of these cootie cocktails. They only want to go after the most vulnerable, apparently, those who have additional or multiple or even one condition that the FDA or the CDC is deeming as dangerous. So therefore, they are the ones that should get the jab. And the thinking goes that this mysterious illness is going to put them at a greater risk. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not here to talk about medical things. In fact, that's the whole point of my video, that the government should not be involved in our medical choices at all, full stop, period. Let me know in a comment if you would like me to do a deep dive. Well, I already have, but on my own. Let me know if you would like me to share with you the information that I've uncovered related to the FDA, how it came into being, and what its original purpose was, how it has grown, and maybe it is actually serving its truly original purpose that was hidden from us in the beginning. Let me know if you would like that deep dive, because it's always been curious to me that the government should be in charge of our food and our medicine. It doesn't make sense. What I want to do now is share with you a little bit of this conversation that I had with Laura, and I'm going to do that by way of sharing with you the Age of Autism website. Now, I do need to be a little careful, and I am going to do some of my code words here, I guess you could say, because the videos that Laura has done in years past have been taken down from YouTube because she's got truth that is too hot to handle. If you would like to see the private webinar that we actually did that just about a month or two ago. That is for all of my supporters. I'm so grateful for you. And then I have done videos with Laura in the past. Let me know if you need the link. I have set those to unlisted because I'm trying to protect the channel. And Laura speaks with such passion and so much integrity and information because she has been in this battle because her children have been harmed from these very products that the CDC and the FDA and the Health and Human Services are telling us are safe for pregnant women and for people that are over 65 and for those that already have, how do I put it, health conditions that are rendering them less than healthy. So that's very troubling to me as well. Let me share with you in Laura's own words. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to Age of Autism. I want to leave you today with very powerful resources. I know that sometimes I do go a little off the deep end on this channel, meaning often I will share with you my concerns, but I never want to put you in the spin cycle. I strive to leave you with resources and remedies. So the resources for this video are going to be over at ageofautism.com. I am not going to link that in my description. I will have it for you in my Substack. YouTube is even taking down videos if they don't like the outgoing links. That's why if you are leaving a link in the comments, most likely that comment is not going to show up. And that happened with Laura as well. She said, Peggy, I've been trying to leave you links. So I want everyone to know about that. Go to my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. And that's where we can have a more open discussion and I can leave you with links where you can get the information. So this is all about an article that came out a few days ago and it was posted on Age of Autism. Again, Laura has children that have been harmed by these products. And one son in particular has had more severe harms than the other. We've spoken about that at great length. And this is why Laura is so passionate to help educate other parents, grandparents, and anyone in the community so that they will know that these products carry real risks and it's not worth the risk. So this is called, I'm just going to use my code words, Cootie Cocktail recommendation on the way out. And I will have a link for you, but what I want to direct you to is actually Laura's comment, because Laura is saying we have got to stop this applauding the slow and steady way wins the race. No, it doesn't win the race. It actually harms more children and adults and animals, because no one has the, how do I put it delicately, the courage to stand up publicly. When I say no one, I'm speaking about those in power. And many people will say, well, they're taking baby steps toward exposing it all. And Laura is saying, I heard this for decades, and we can't keep doing this. Is what the article said: the tortoise beats the hare in Aesop's fable, meaning slow and steady wins the race. And we're not in Aesop's fable. Okay. We're in reality. We're not in fables. We're not in fairy tales, other than the fairy tales that we're being told that we should just let the man work. And it's too dangerous to stand up to big pharma. So let me read for you a few snippets from Laura's comments, which are unbelievably powerful. And she uses one metaphor that I will use again and again. I've always said you can't make poison safe, but this is going to be very powerful. And so we'll just move ahead here. So this is Laura's first comment. And she says that here is what the fine print says: these shots would be available for everyone over the age of 6 months with one or more risk factors that put them at high risk for severe mystery illness outcomes. So according to the CDC, a wide list of conditions constitutes an additional risk, including obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on to your horses, everybody. Heart disease? Did they forget the part about the myocarditis being a known side effect? And now you're telling me that individuals with heart disease should go ahead with this protocol? Am I the only one that's troubled by this? I've done videos exposing Mon-Fri and Prasad. Mon-Fri is in charge of the CDC. Prasad is in charge of the department in the FDA that actually approves these cocktails. So I find that very, very interesting. Now, I have done a bit more digging on Prasad, and I will say that at the surface level, it appears as though he is, how do I put it, one of us, that he has been speaking out of the excessive use of these products, but he hasn't come out strongly against it. So he's what would be called straddling the fence, or a fence sitter. And I hope and pray that he's going to come out more fervently and vehemently and strongly and courageously, because in the meantime, children are being harmed. And children are being harmed in the womb, because one of these risk factors is also, according to the CDC, is pregnancy. So somehow being pregnant puts you at a risk of having a more severe case of the common cold. I'll just put it that way. So Laura writes, in other words, if one uses the 200 million number that the CDC is saying, 200 million Americans would still have access to the annual shots, meaning all of the boosters. And remember, Mon-Fri and Prasad were chuckling, saying, oh, I don't think a thin, healthy 12-year-old should have her 7th or 8th booster. Oh, so the first 6 were okay? And if she wasn't thin, it's okay? And if she was, I don't know, older than 12 or not a female, I don't understand the qualifiers. So they have a list of all of these. Let's see if I can go there. I'm doing this live, so let's see if I can get there. This is a list of the risk factors that are going to qualify a person. Oh, I don't like to go through all that. I will leave a link for you so you can look as well. But basically, it's obesity and heart disease and other things. So this is what Laura points out. Investors reacted favorably to this news, and shares of the cocktail makers rose. How do you like them apples, friends? That means that these makers of these cocktails anticipate that it's going to be a booming business, because the CDC did not shut it down altogether. That's troubling to me. But the bigger picture that's troubling to me is, why are we even listening to the CDC? I mean, why are we even listening to the FDA? That to me is like we're hijacking the conversation. And Laura is aware of that. We've had these conversations, very fruitful conversations about this. So it's important to get these facts correct. And she's correcting the facts for people who were not able to read between the lies, as I call it. And in a moment, we're going to get to this very powerful analogy that she uses for these cocktails. So Mon-Fri and Prasad, right? The dynamic duo here. We've got the CDC and the fellow who actually is in charge of approving these cocktails. They didn't miss the opportunity to praise the MMR cocktails. They said that it is a vital immunization and it has been clearly established as safe and highly effective. Friends, there are many people that I know, friends of mine, who did not participate in the cooties hogwash at all, but they still believe in this MMR. And they use the same exact phrase. It's been around forever. They probably had it as a child. This is one of those talking points that people really seem to accept. It's troubling to me because it's a slippery slope to establish one of these products as safe and effective. And then down the line, after all of these placebo trials that they keep pushing, and as a matter of fact, they want to expand the number of children who are going to be the test subjects. Let that sink in a little bit. Parents are going to place their children on the altar of sacrifice, apparently for money. Or maybe they're being brainwashed, being told that, it's for science or something. I was researching these pharmaceutical companies, and you can do this on your own as well. You can go to Pfizer, you can look at their clinical trials, and you can see the ones for children. It was so utterly depressing and despairing and distressing for me that I don't even think I can do a video on it. The concept of a parent taking a 6-month-old infant and giving it over to a pharmaceutical company and saying, here, experiment on my precious one. It's despicable. And I really can't even cover that on this channel. So you can do that research if you want. Just know that Kennedy and Big Tree and Mon-Fri and Prasad, for everything that I've seen, they want to expand the testing on children. The children don't have an ability to say no. An adult, you want to go be in a clinical trial? Go for it. That's your choice, as it should be. But children who don't have the right or who don't have the authority, the ability, I guess they can tell their parents, I don't want to do it. But the parents have that legal authority to enroll them. It's absolutely chilling and horrible. So Laura says there's nothing to celebrate here in this latest announcement from the CDC and the FDA. The plan is for the devastation to be continued, for the perpetrators to remain free and unpunished, for the childhood schedule to continue to be in the neighborhood of 75 and even more. I broke that down. If you're getting these boosters every year and you're getting the flu shot as well, it's well over 100. And you can add in more if the expecting mother got those jabs as well. And she mentions that there are more when there are the add-ons. And she said they're going to remain in place. She writes, so it continues with Kennedy at the helm of HHS. All right. Another woman says, very quietly, with no fanfare, the cooties cocktail is now no longer recommended to anyone under 64. Well, Laura just explained that it is recommended to those under 64, including pregnant women. And then Benedetta says RF Kennedy looks haggard and anxious. And many of you have said the same, that he just looks, as he looks, you can see for yourself. And I'm certain that job is no picnic. And I really don't even know why that there is a job for that. So here's the next one. Okay. For Bobby says, here, New Yorkers, there's an aggressive TV campaign promoting these cocktails. I assume to counteract RF okay, Junior and others, using words like safe, easy, calm, go get your cocktail, running around with your immune system, not knowing what's up is so yesterday. Ugh, it truly is disheartening. All right. So here is the next one that I want to share with you from Laura, and then I will leave you with a few more resources and I'll take a look at your comments. So, okay, here, now I do want to get a little caveat. So she does give an analogy that is quite hard hitting, literally. So I would ask you to mute this part of the video if you or someone you know has ever experienced physical abuse, because there is going to be a mention of that. Sometimes we need to use very powerful analogies to get the attention of people and literally shock them into reality. When I was helping thousands and thousands of people keep their jobs without the jab, an analogy that I used was, under what authority does your boss have to tell you to undergo a medical intervention, against your will? That's no different than your boss saying that you have to sleep with your boss in order to keep your job. And I've had other, in my private webinars, a little more hard-hitting analogies, but we need to use those because people are getting deadened. They're getting immune, if I can use that word, to hearing about the jabs and the side effects and all of that. So we need to use more powerful metaphors and analogies. So if, again, you don't want to hear about that, please just mute for the next few moments, and then I'll come, you can join us in just a moment. So Laura says, with regard to continuing to excuse or pardon anyone who is responsible for continuing this devastation of humanity in any way, shape, or form, don't punish the progress mantra is one of many unacceptable excuses that enables the decimation and death from this to forge on full speed ahead. I want that to sink in. There are people, and I do understand where they're coming from, to say, don't punish the progress. They're taking baby steps. I understand their point of view, but it's not enough. Laura has been at this for decades, and others have as well. So I've been on the scene since 2020, bringing you truth, defending freedom, helping you learn about your rights and the laws that should protect them. I've been involved in laws. In fact, I'm going to be in a deposition coming up because of different clients that have been standing their ground. So I've been in the trenches for the last several years. Laura and others have been in it for decades, paving the way for those of us. So she truly is a pioneer, and she has heard that phrase for years, for decades. So the time is up. And most importantly, because we were told that with Kennedy at the helm, he was going to take care of it. But there still is the dragging of the feet. So here is Laura's closing paragraph from a presentation called Why Is This Legal? And I have it for you here. It's called Why Is This Legal? You can actually watch it also on Rumble. Here's Laura right here, a warrior mom, a freedom fighter, extremely well-spoken, extremely well-versed in the laws, in the science, in the advocacy. So this is her closing paragraph, and I'm going to read that to you because this video would totally come down if I played that on air from Laura. So she said, what about those, including doctors, who state that there is a safe way to introduce the product into these children? A delayed schedule, right? We've all heard of that. Or skipping one or two of these products until they're older, or giving just one at a time. But remember, many of these are multivalent. I don't know the pronunciation, meaning they are like 3 rolled into one and necessitate giving a minimum of 3 at once. Laura says, I say beware of such dangerous and unfounded advice. Think of all the facts that we have covered in her presentation. Not one of these cocktails has been studied properly or been approved ethically. And I love she uses the word cocktail. Each contains a heinous cocktail of toxic and hazardous ingredients, and each has the potential to gravely harm, permanently disable, like it did to her son, and make chronically ill and kill. And those risks are greatly multiplied when they're given together, which is how they are most often administered. Here is a vivid analogy for you. All right, here we go, friends. If a parent were beating their child 7 times per week and was convinced to just reduce it to 3 times per week, that sounds safer, right? Exactly. It's in theory only. Any one of those beatings could be fatal. And of course, they cause profound injury and permanent disability. A reduction in frequency of those or spreading them out, it is not safe or advisable. Just as there is no safe beating of a child or safe schedule for that, there is no safe cocktail or safe schedule for introducing these products. We cannot and should not defend that which is indefensible. And that includes the barbaric and reprehensible practice of introducing these products. Friends, I would love for you to watch this video, and I want you to share this video of Laura's with others, especially those now that are pretty much coming to the forefront and saying, you know what? And I'm going to tell you a personal story. I have a dear friend of mine, and she knows what I do. I love her. We've been lifetime friends. She is the only lifetime friend that has not cut me out of her life, knowing what it is that I do. In fact, she even recommended that her children not participate in these cocktails because of the potential harms related to being able to procreate. So she was aware of that. Being a very compassionate person, a person of faith, who was told at her church that she should undergo this procedure in order to protect the others around her, especially young children, she went along with it. And fast forward to now, she's wondering whether or not those products have caused her harm. And I have had so many people, and for me, it's like, I just did a video for you last week about moving ahead. Where do we go from here? It doesn't do a lot of good to worry about the past, but what do we do going forward? And so I'm using that as a personal anecdote to let you know that more and more people actually are waking up. I've worked with so many individuals in the healthcare field that came to me after they were jabbed once and twice, and then where they worked said, well, you need to get another one. You need to get it every year, and you need tetanus, and you need the flu, and you need hepatitis, and they came to me and said, Peggy, is there any way that I can avoid going through this again? Is it too late because I've already complied? And I said, for heaven's sakes, no. You have a right of no consent at any time in the process. I want everyone to know that. The bigger picture for me was that these individuals realized that all of those other cocktails that were being pushed were now suspect as well. And I'm using this as an example to let you know that people in the medical field, as well as individuals that I know personally, are waking up and saying, this doesn't seem right. I don't like these apples. And they want to pull back from participating in this. So I wanted to let you know that because of people like Laura Hayes, who have been doing this work for decades, she has an entire body of work on the age of autism. I will leave those links for you at my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. I feel that the tide is turning and that more and more people are waking up to this, and more people are saying no to a second, third, fourth, or seasonal. Let me take a look at your comments, because I'd like to know if you have seen any of that in your experience. So thank you so much for being on board. And let's see, I'm going to scroll through these. If I can't get through all of them, I will take a look and reply to some tomorrow. So a reminder, I do my live streams on Monday, and that's what we're doing, which is awesome. So okay, let's see. Here we go. Oleana, welcome on board. Oleana says the reason that autism and ADH numbers are so high. Friends, it's looking at us right in the face. Now, I, for one, am not in favor of ingesting red dye, but that we talked about that years ago, all those things. I have a right to select foods that don't contain that. And my employer, although you're my employer because I work for you here on YouTube, many employers were requiring something far different than red dye in order to keep the job. So I don't think it needs to be an either or. I would like to have more attention directed toward educating people about these harms. But the bottom line is the government should have nothing to do with recommending this. Are they your doctor? Have they examined you? Do they know your history? Think about it. Back in 2021, when all these products came on the scene, the same dose, whether you are, now I am going to use some modifiers and adjectives, whether you're a 30-year-old female that weighs 130 pounds, or maybe you are a senior citizen with health conditions, maybe you're a robust, 50-year-old weighing 200 pounds, the same dose was given to everyone without any consideration of their background, their medical conditions, by someone like a drive-through clinic. When you think about it, it's absolutely insane. That's the only word that comes to mind. You want to do that, go to your doctor, talk it over with your doctor. And I do know people who did do that, and they were concerned. And sadly, the doctor told them it's worth the risk. I don't know if they feel that way now. So I don't think the government has any authority, moral authority, to be involved in telling us about any medications that we should take. All right. That's why I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on that FDA announcement. You can find that if you are interested. Stop the Madness said they don't have any authority to do most of what they're doing. You are so right. I mean, it's the medicine I kind of put number one because it's like, I think people have a word for it, the type of shot that, does you in. It's mind-boggling that people went along with that. Okay, Oleana would like the deep dive on the FDA. I found it fascinating. Lori says as well, I'm glad that you all are people of discernment and you like to learn. I am an educator at heart, and that's actually been my career over my life. And so I do love to learn and then identify and simplify the main points so that we can use that knowledge to our benefit. And then the more knowledge we have, when new things come into the forefront, we can match that up and say, hey, why is this happening? Or there's no authority here. Okay, let's go on. Okay. Oh, Oleana, I'm so sorry. Oleana writes, my first son was jabbed and has autism. Second son, not jabbed and a typical kid. Let me know, friends, if you have heard of those stories. I know 3 young mothers very well. They're dear friends of mine. I'm kind of like their auntie. And they are all in their 20s. One might be a little bit older. Their children are completely natural. And in some cases, they were born at home. And I am seeing this kind of pendulum swing because I remember like my grandparents were born at home. And when my mom and dad told me that story, it was like, oh, how sad. My grandparents were born at home. They couldn't go to a hospital. Well, it's completely changed. And now more and more parents realize that that is another option. And in many cases, the superior option to do those home births. I'm not an expert on that in any means. Let me know if you are interested, if you're going to be a parent, or maybe you're an auntie like I am, or you are a grandparent and you want to educate others. There are lots of good resources out there from young women who are quite well-versed and experienced in that. Okay, thank you, Patriot Girl. Thank you for reminding me. Do not jab your animals either. Now, I did find out, oh, whoops, I can't touch these buttons. I did find out that in the state of Florida, let me just be a little vague here, in certain counties, so I don't know if it's statewide, and I want you to check this out. In your county, all you do is check a box and you say, my animal has a waiver from this product. And you know the product that I'm talking about, rabies, as I call it. I've got videos on this channel as well. Best is go to my Substack. You can read the articles. I have lots of resources. If you find a holistic vet, please email me, support@thehealthyamerican.org. I would like to know, even if you live in a small town, you never know where our other healthy Americans are. I keep it confidential. I'm not going to promote it on YouTube. If people email me, I can send that to them. I don't want to out any of these veterinarians. So also in the state of Florida, if you personally don't want to participate in these cocktails, you check a box. That's my understanding at your job. And you say, nope, I'm exempt. And so in Florida, you check the box. No, my animal has a waiver. I think that's so cool. That's my understanding. All right. Let's see. I asked my husband, this is at the airport, what was the thing they make you rub on your hands? He said, I don't know. I don't know what that is either. That would be a good one if anybody wants to dig in. When they pat you down and they do the illegal, it's basically like you're being assaulted, physically assaulted. And then they take a paper and they rub it, I guess, to see if you've got something. It's very strange to me. I hope that all works out. Oh, Oleana says the pediatricians get a huge cut. Money, 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 money when it comes to these products. Oh gosh, Cabbage Town is also writing about problems with her son. Oh dear, I'm so sorry about that. Okay. Thank you everybody for being on board. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to scroll through a little bit more. Oh, good. Cabbage Town says that I guess the doctors are pushing these jabs on the elderly mother. She actually tells them she doesn't believe in them. You know what, friends? I'm finding more and more people are speaking out boldly about this, kind of in mixed settings, where in the previous few years, it was like, oh, I don't know if you can say anything around anybody. And, I'm pretty bold because I'm here on YouTube, but I understand that not everybody feels confident in expressing their views. I've got videos on this channel called How to Stand Your Ground Without Losing Ground. And I think I have another one, How to Speak Your Mind Without Losing Your Mind, something along those lines. So thank you everybody for being on board. It's always a pleasure. I really want to thank Rhonda and Valerie, our moderators. They are here on a regular basis. We have such a great community. And do another double check that you are subscribed to this channel, please. I know. I think YouTube just pressed a button and my subscriber count has been frozen like for the last 4 years. It's very strange to me. And I don't care about the numbers, but I do care about the reach. I want to reach more people. You can help me do that by sharing the video, liking it, commenting, subscribing. And I know that you do share this, and I'm so grateful. So signing off for now, everybody. I'll be back with you tomorrow. And in the meantime, get on that Substack so you can read Laura Hayes's articles and watch that video, Age of Autism. Just a reminder, this usually comes out, the Substack comes out the following day after this video. So if you go to Substack right now, those links won't be there, but they'll be there within 24 hours. Or you can go on Rumble and you can do a search. Let me share the video one more time so everybody sees it. I think this will be safe if I do this. So let me share. And here we go. It's called Laura Hayes, Why Is This Legal? In fact, after I get off the video now, and if you have time, go ahead and watch this right now. Share it with as many people as possible. And you can see why Laura has been so powerful and such a powerful voice in this movement and why we need to continue to share. All right. Thanks, everybody.